This is the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. If you're interested in the intersection of real estate, blockchain technology, AI, and more, you've come to the right place. Don't miss your opportunity to attend the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody, for another episode of the Real Estate Blockchain Summit podcast. I am your host, Michael Flight, and I'm here with three fantastic guests and actually two pioneering companies in the blockchain, let's say, tokenization space, the blockchain security space, and most importantly to us, the blockchain real estate space. So without further ado, what I would like to remind everybody is that the Blockchain Real Estate Summit is coming up. It's September 24th through the 26th. We have invited both DigiShares and Texture Capital to be speakers. This is going to be an excellent highlight of a joint venture that they're doing together to actually bring liquidity to real estate, to fund shares, and all kinds of other things. So with that, I want to introduce Gabriel Sadoun. Gabriel is with DigiShares. He's head of business development. And then we will next go on to Richard from Texture Capital. He'll speak a little bit about Texture and how they were one of the first ATSs, and he will explain what an ATS is, digital ATS in the United States. And then Martin Hotka is our resident expert on blockchain from DigiShares. So with that, Gabriel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about DigiShares, and why you decided to get into this crazy world called real estate tokenization.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's great to be here. So a bit about DigiShares. The company was founded in Denmark in 2018. It was one of the pioneering firms in Europe to tokenize some of the first assets that have been tokenized in Europe. I joined the company in early 2021 to be the US based person. I'm based in Miami now, and just lead the business development efforts there. My background was in economics and finance. I worked for a few years for a broker-dealer in New York City that was helping alternative asset managers with raising capital and even M&A between asset managers. And I saw that the private markets were ripe for disruption, just a lack of technology. And yeah, I wanted to be a part of this exciting space and joined DigiShares. We provide a white label platform for tokenization with a focus on real estate. So where companies can create security tokens, onboard investors compliantly, manage their cap tables, and provide rails for the secondary trading. And then I guess I'll talk about RealEstate.Exchange in a little bit after the intro rounds.
Excellent. And Richard, we brought you on because we wanted to show how international we are. We've got an American working for a Danish company, and we've got a quality British accent here who has founded an American company. So with that, Richard, tell us a little bit about Texture Capital, your background, and some of the really, like I say, pioneering things you're doing in the digital asset space.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Good to be on this podcast. So my name is Richard Johnson. I'm the founder and CEO of Texture Capital. We're a digital securities broker-dealer. So we help clients raise capital through different regulatory exemptions, Reg A, Reg B, Reg CF, Reg S. We help them issue the securities on blockchain, and we have an ATS, alternative trading system, for secondary trading. We're regulated by the SEC and FINRA, so we're one of, I think, maybe 10 regulated digital securities brokers in the US. And what our kind of speciality is really focusing on creating digital securities infrastructure so that other parties can kind of come to us and launch their own compliant marketplace for tokenized securities. We're not focused on real estate. We're kind of agnostic to the underlying asset class, but we provide the kind of infrastructure layer so that our partners like DigiShares can build their platforms on top of them. And we handle all the kind of broker-dealer activities, the compliance, and the trading on our regulated platform.
And I'm going to circle back because I want you to explain what an ATS is and FINRA and all the rest of that stuff is.
Sure.
But first, Martin, give us a little bit of information on what you do with DigiShares.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So I guess I will just start my background. I'm Martin Hotka. I'm from Slovakia. So yeah, we are very much international here. And yeah, I studied computer science, and I've been in crypto or the blockchain space since 2017. And for the past 3 years, I've been a blockchain developer. And regarding the duties or responsibilities at DigiShares, I'm mostly responsible for writing, testing, and integrating smart contracts and all the necessary steps with them.
Excellent, excellent. So I just want to circle back to Richard. Richard, can you tell us a little bit about what an ATS is and not only how you're providing the infrastructure, and I want to say the back end and the rails to how things, how shares move back and forth on the DigiShares platform. But, just kind of explain, what some of those buzzwords are, because sometimes the world of finance gets way too deep into stuff. So it would be helpful to explain some of this.
Yeah, sure. So an ATS stands for Alternative Trading System. It is it's part of the Exchange Act. So that it is regulation ATS under the Exchange Act, which is a very important securities law. And it's basically how the SEC allows brokers to electronically cross client orders. They've been around probably since the late 90s is when Reg ATS started, mostly in kind of traditional markets, starting off in equities. We were one of the first ones to get ours approved specifically for tokenized securities. So we have a kind of integrations with different blockchains that can facilitate trading on our ATS. That's the basics there.
And I know I keep using the word pioneer, but you guys it was really difficult to get a digital asset broker license, and it was really difficult to get a digital asset ATS license. And you at Texture Capital were one of the first to get out there. And you've really been making some great headway with some of your clients and some of the things that you've been doing.
Yeah, so I can talk about that a little bit. I think my background and my co-founder's background probably helped. I was a traditional finance person. I moved to the States in '99 and been on Wall Street since then. Until 2014 anyway. I was mainly on different trading desks. I've worked around ATSs my entire career. My co-founder, John Halloran, who you may know, he's a named inventor on a number of different ATS patents. So we had a very strong background in traditional finance, and specifically around the ATSs that we were trying to build. And then around 2015, I moved into the digital asset space. So I had a lot of kind of digital asset experience and TradFi experience, which kind of come together in the security token world. So yeah, so my kind of my idea for Texture was kind of shortly after the ICOs started blowing up in like 2018. And I think, I recognized that there was tremendous, I've been in the space for a while, but I recognize there's tremendous potential to use blockchain in capital markets through tokenization. At the same time, the SEC chair, who was Jay Clayton, came out and said, every token I've seen is a security and these platforms need to be regulated. Right. But this wasn't a good way for people to do it. So we took the plunge, one of the first firms to apply to FINRA, one of the first firms to get approved. The normal process, they say, is 180 days for a new broker-dealer. It took us a lot longer than that. It's more like close to 18 months with a lot of delays. But basically because we were using the word blockchain and saying we wanted to use this technology at a time where the regulators have been very, very scared and burned by everything that had been happening in the ICO world.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're kind of still going through a lot of that kind of baggage from the crypto space, as it were. I think there was the ICO stuff, and then of course FTX in 2023, and Luna and so forth. And whilst we've always been fully regulated by the SEC, there are regulators, so is FINRA, and we've always done things exactly according to the books. We have we've got to pass a lot of exams, you've got to go through this lengthy process, et cetera, et cetera. So we've always been regulatory first company, but it's still, what happens is that, that some of the bad shenanigans going on in the crypto space do sometimes, reflect on us to a certain extent, unfairly perhaps.
Well, thank you for explaining that, because I think it's going to be very helpful for people listening. And now I want to shift to Gabriel, because Gabriel, we talk a lot, so I sometimes forget, but he's always had a really good story about the origination, because what we're here to talk about is RealEstate.Exchange. And he, has told me a few times about the origination story of how RealEstate.Exchange came around. So DigiShares has been trying to invent this, along with there's a lot of other pioneers out there. But they put together the technology to do the tokenization, and then they said, "Oh, we thought somebody else was going to come along and create the exchanges, but they didn't. So we have to." But I'm going to let Gabriel tell that story, because he tells it a lot better than I do.
Yeah, and there are actually two stories like that. There's the origination of DigiShares, which is similar, and then RealEstate.Exchange, which I'll call RE.X. So maybe, let's start in 2018, when our founder, Klaus Skoning, who's a PhD in computer science in Denmark, he was looking for a way to facilitate investments in Danish startups, and was really passionate about blockchain and wanted to find a way to enable that on chain, and really disrupt that process. And then so he was looking for a tech solution that he could build on top of to make that a reality, but it didn't exist. So he and the original members of DigiShares built this platform, and decided to pivot to a white label and to enable others to enter the Web3 space and tokenize. And the vast majority of the people that reached out and became leads and then clients of DigiShares were in the real estate space. So that's how you go from Danish startups to real estate, which is mostly in the US. I mean, we have clients around the world, but a lot in the US. And so then now the second story, the one you were talking about. So we have these, we've had these clients since 2020, a lot in the real estate space. And of course, one of the main promises of security tokenization is this liquidity optionality that you can get. And so, and we've been great partners and friends with a few of the existing ATSs that have a front end. So whereas Texture is like a back end infrastructure provider, there's some others that have, a front end and an actual platform with their brand. And so we've
pay to list your shares on there, and
yeah.
Yes.
As an issuer, you can list your tokens on there, absolutely, and then any investor within that platform can buy and sell within that token issuance. And so we've had integrations with some of them, but we just found that a lot of them weren't competitively priced and had a complicated onboarding process for issuers. So we've had some of our clients be a bit frustrated with that, and say, look, we really want a solution that is more competitive, easier to use, and the real estate clients were saying that they wanted something focused on real estate, so somewhere that would really attract global investors that are interested in investing in tokenized real estate shares. And so
we like to call it real estate critical mass.
Yeah, exactly. So we were brainstorming and decided to launch a RealEstate.Exchange, just do it ourselves, so to speak. And being based in the US and having known Richard for a while, and running into each other at various conferences and talking, I couldn't think of a better partner to help us with this on the regulatory compliance side. So so we're basically all of the front end, the smart contracts, the user interface and experience, and we'll try to bring all of our clients' assets onto RealEstate.Exchange and create an investor base. And Texture is on the back ends with all the technology that makes sure that we stay compliant with SEC regulations. So that's how it all started. And just to be clear, RealEstate.Exchange aims to be a global platform. So you mentioned at the start, Texture is our partner for the US. Just a few weeks ago, we were accepted in the European Union regulatory sandbox program, which is quite competitive. So we're happy we got in. That's actually even for a potential AMM, automated market maker model. And we're also speaking with other regulators around the world to try to make this a global platform.
Yeah, well, that's excellent. That's excellent. And I just wanted to kind of follow up with the fact that, you know, there was so many people early on that thought security tokens were going to take off so fast, and, you know, we would be in the middle of it. And there was a lot of people that had this model that, oh, we're just going to do this, or we're going to do everything. And I think it's great to see people like you have a specialty of, you know, tokenization. You've got the tokenization down. Richard and his team have figured out not only the legal compliance and, you know, how to do it, but how to do the plumbing for the ATS. And, you know, just knitting this stuff together, I think that's the way things are going to go much faster, versus you got the silo over here that, you know, what do I got to do here? Because that's, you know, I've worked on a number of tokenization projects, and we're working through some right now. And I unfortunately I just had a call with a person that, you know, they spent a lot of money. They, you know, I want to say did all the mistakes, and I'm like, I wish you would have like found me 6 months ago, and I could have like saved you a lot of money and a lot of pain just by, you know, giving you the roadmap. But anyway, I think, you know, the more this gets publicized, the easier it's going to get for everybody. And I personally believe that there's going to be a lot more quality investments for people around the world to invest in, versus just, you know, some other things. So with that, why don't you guys take over and, you know, give us a little bit of an idea as to what RealEstate.Exchange, or you call it RE.X, actually is and does.
Yeah. So would you like to do the demo now, or should I just start with it? Yeah.
Why don't we do that? And one of my biggest problems is I always forget to hit the share screen, but now we're good to go.
All right. So Martin, the floor is yours. But maybe just as an introduction, so the US version will be an order book. It seems like the SEC is not quite open to the idea of AMM yet. So you know, we want to make sure everything is compliant. There are some AMMs out there for real estate, but they're not under the US regulatory framework.
Can I have you back up and just explain, because we're primarily talking to mostly real estate people, and real estate people, a lot of times, myself included, don't understand all the plumbing of, you know, the financial system. So can you just kind of like give us an idea as to what a bulletin board is, what an order book is, what an AMM is, and some of the terms that you're talking about, so that people have a clear idea?
Absolutely. So bulletin board, it's a page where you'll see every order that was placed by investors. So let's say I want to sell 1,000 shares at $10 per share. There'll be, you know, that order will be listed and with maybe the validity of and how long that order will be open. And as long as the order is open, anyone participating in the trading venue can then come and position themselves as the buyer of those shares. And so It's just a board that summarizes the orders. And
So I'm going to dumb this
Yeah.
down for me. The bulletin board is kind of like the eBay of security.
That's right, for sure. And the order book is more of the financial term that describes the sum of all of the open orders. So either buy or sell orders, so the bids or asks at a current time. And you have, for example, in the New York Stock Exchange or in traditional exchanges, you have market makers that are private companies that position themselves and act as an intermediary, so that you have an instantaneous transaction go. Because on the bulletin board, there could be a delay between the moment someone places a sell order and then finds a buyer, right? And so for stocks that have a lot of liquidity, that are big companies, you have market makers that come in and act as the intermediary and take a little a spread, it's called, a little fee on that. And so one of the innovations of blockchain and DeFi is that there's now a system called an automated market maker, AMM, where anybody can play the role of a market maker and can pool either the means of payment or the security tokens themselves into the system, and earn fees on transactions that happen. So that's sort of democratizing the role of the market maker, and it's seen right now mainly on in DeFi for crypto, so on platforms like Uniswap, that's the biggest one.
Right.
And it's very slowly coming to the world of securities, because of course this is not a normal model for that regulated space. And so there are some companies in Singapore and maybe in some other places that are starting. And yeah, I just wanted to say that in the US, it's not possible yet to do, or to our knowledge, AMMs for securities. And so the version you will see right now, the demo, it's the US version, which will be the initial version with an order book. So I don't know if Richard, if there's anything
I'm going to get my jab in at regulations, and most of the time regulations are to protect the incumbent. Having been a regulated real estate broker since 1986, so. But let's go ahead with the demonstration and not get anybody in trouble here today.
Thank you. I think one more distinction, since we already mentioned DEXs, right? The centralized exchanges. They usually operate with permissionless tokens, right, on permissionless blockchains. So, for example, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so on. Like, all these assets can be freely traded on these decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and so on, right? In our use case, we are actually working with permissioned tokens, right? So, obviously, there are some rules, some types of whitelisting, and so on, which first need to be on the user's wallet, and only after the users can receive these tokenized shares. So that's essentially like the bridge between the blockchain space, right, and the regulation that we meet in the middle.
Yeah, and that is an excellent point, because as Richard will attest to, people need to be KYC'd, which is know your customer. Some of these are investments only for accredited investors. There's certain timeframes on the tokens, and also, sometimes there's restrictions on the tokens as to what countries they can be in. So, thank you very much, Martin. That's an excellent point.
Yep. And I guess now we can jump into the demo. I presume all of you see the screen.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, we have the sign-in page, and we are giving the users essentially a lot of ways to sign in, right? You can either sign in with your wallet, or you can also sign in with social logins. This is a really new thing, and essentially how it works is that you don't need to have a crypto wallet beforehand, but you just use your email address, and the wallet is created for you. And then with that wallet, you are receiving the funds and sending them, right? So that's like one of the first things users can use. For example, here I can show the Apple.
Can we
Yep.
stop right there, Martin? This is so important because one of the largest obstructions to real estate investors investing in a token thing is that the biggest obstacle was the MetaMask wallet and some of the other things that people had to do. So if you can have more of a Web 2 experience where they can sign in with an email, sign in with, a Stitch type of a thing, this is actually going to be incredibly useful because people won't have to worry about what a wallet even is. They'll just have an account with you.
Exactly, and that's essentially the point, the onboarding, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for anyone. Like even my grandma can now log into this platform, right, and start trading. So that's exactly the point. Like not all people know about wallets, but this is like a great bridge because
Right.
now since the wallet is created for you, you have two options. You can still be using, let's say, this login with Apple, and the wallet is created for you, or you can actually take the wallet and import it into your MetaMask later on if you want to. So that's like one of the great advancements which we are using. It's from Wallet Connect, and yeah.
Yeah, I like to explain it this way, and I've tried to explain it since 2020 to all kinds of engineers and everything else. It's like, I don't want to know that it's a wallet. I want it to be like a boat in a dock. So I have an account, and my account is a boat in a dock. But if I want to take my boat out of the dock, then I have my wallet and I can go wherever I want with it. And, it was hard to convince some people to do that because it's like, no, that's not crypto. Like, well, I'm not looking for crypto. But anyways, I'm sorry, Martin. That's my digression.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like now the wallet is essentially abstracted away, right? So the user doesn't even need to know about it at the end of the day.
Yes, yes.
And back to the demo. So we also have a Wallet Connect QR code scanning. So let's say you have your wallet in your phone and you don't want to log in into your computer, right? You just scan a QR code and you are automatically logged into the platform as well. And then we support over 400 wallets. So if you have any and you like them, they're most likely in this list, so you can use them. For these demo purposes, I will use the MetaMask one, right, which is an injected wallet into my browser.
Okay.
And I will log in as an investor, confirm it. Now, another important thing is that one thing is connecting, right? Then you also need to sign a message with your wallet that you really own it, right? So this is just a security precaution which needs to always happen. And now we are on the landing page. Here you can essentially see the tokens which you want to trade. You can see the featured assets of the day. A disclaimer, this page is still under development, right? And all of this data you see is mock data. Now,
But also a disclaimer for everybody. We always do this at the beginning and the end of the show as well, but none of this is financial advice. None of this is legal advice. None of this is accounting advice. So you should always have a competent professional review anything that you're looking to do. Go ahead, Martin.
yes.
Thank you.
And here, as the user, you can see some notifications if you need to fill out more information, if a trade needs to be settled, and so on. And here is your account menu. And what's great about this integration as well is that if you, let's say, don't have cryptocurrencies in your wallet, because in this case, you are paying with a stable coin, for example, USDC. So here, through your wallet connection, you can on-ramp crypto right away into your wallet with which you are already connected to. And that wallet is already tied to your account in RealEstate.Exchange.
Martin,
So, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Can people also pay with fiat currency like US dollar, euro, or a check or an ACH?
No. On the RealEstate.Exchange, at least as of now, since the trades itself are settled on the blockchain, right? You will need stable coins to do that, right? In this case, we are using USDC.
Okay.
So I'd like to add that on Coinbase now it's possible to convert fiat US dollars into USDC without fees. So Americans can very easily, create a Coinbase account and even create a Coinbase self-custodial wallet, which is like it's an extension to your Google Chrome browser, sort of like MetaMask, but I think their UI UX is better.
Right.
And so you can convert your dollars into USDC stablecoin. USDC is a project by Circle and Coinbase, and it's audited by a Big Four audit firm. They're very transparent, and it's unlike some other stable coins that were in the crypto space.
Stop your stable coin bashing. But anyway, they are regulated in the United States, and that they're also regulated by the New York Department of Financial Services, I believe.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, just wanted to say that was an option. And Circle has just released a Euro stable coin, so hopefully that'll be free for Europeans too on Coinbase. And as the years pass, we expect that most currencies will have a stable coin that can be acquired for free from the base fiat currency. Just wanted to add that.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things I didn't show yet is there is a big unverified check on the right? So what this means is that obviously once you connect with your wallet, we need a KYC information from you, right? So you're able to trade and your wallet is whitelisted.
Okay.
From the start, we'll be using standard KYC providers, for example, SamSap, but we are also working on a DID solution, the centralized ID, and the solution is called DITO, which is the centralized ID for tokenization. It's an open initiative, and anyone can essentially join. We are working with KYC providers, also competitors, because we really want to standardize the space, right? As of now, everything is like all over the place, but then with standardization, everyone can be using this, right? So we are getting input from the whole industry, and anyone can join and anyone can participate if they want to. And essentially what this will achieve is that, let's say you KYC your wallet on a different platform, right? But the verifiable credential is then tied to your wallet. And with this verifiable credential, you can then join other platforms and present this credential. And based on that credential, the platforms know that you have been already KYC'd. So this will even more enhance onboarding from also different platforms and parties in the industry.
When I first heard about this, and I forgot to even bring this initiative up, and I hope it actually comes to fruition, because it's, it makes sense, because, in the United States, there's certain situations where we, as, an issuer, have to KYC somebody. And then if we were to put them onto an ATS or someplace else, they would have to be all, KYC'd again. And it makes it difficult, because if, they're investing with me with paper shares, it's just, a lot of times there's not even a KYC at all involved. So, it's just, the less roadblocks we can get to people getting their money invested, I think the better.
I just want to jump in here, Michael and Martin. So this is, just to explain where Texture fits in here, this is the RealEstate.Exchange front end. Texture is is kind of the ATS is integrated to the back end, but we're also integrating the customer onboarding process. So while we're not supporting the decentralized ID yet, what we do have here is an API connectivity to DigiShares and RE.X, so that as customers onboard with RealEstate.Exchange, that information is passed to Texture, and we go through our own KYC process that way, so that they are then going to be enabled to trade or to make investments in primary offerings.
Yeah, and I want to stress the fact, and that's why I didn't do it so eloquently. If you're a broker dealer, if you're an ATS, you actually have to do the KYC and all the checking yourself, because you're the regulated entity. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we're the ones that they can fine and they can do all sorts of things too. So yeah, that's our responsibility.
Right. So that's but that's also one of the things that doing it, with texture and everything else, you get that extra assurance that it's being done properly.
Absolutely, yes. This is these are the other thing is to point out here, these are real investments in real companies. You're getting securities. It could be equity. It could be a debt offering, I suppose, as well. In addition to doing KYC on the investors, we do bad actor checks on the issuers. What that means is we make sure that real estate project A isn't run by bad actors who are criminals, or just people who've been committed crimes or whatever. We do due diligence on the underlying offering as well. We make sure that check the company's operating agreement, look at the real estate, look at the kind of the details, the financials, and so forth. So while we don't make recommendations, and we don't we would never say that this is a good investment, we have done due diligence to make sure that to the best of our knowledge the company's in good standing and the operators are in good standing, and that happens for every deal that we will take onto the ATS.
And I just want to point out something that Richard just brought up, which is pure gold. Right now, there are many investments cratering. Some of them, like I have friends that actually, were invested in carbon capture things. It was like a $200 million Ponzi scheme. There's so many Ponzi schemes out there because, all these capital raisers went out, and there were certain capital raisers that were raising money for the main Ponzi scheme. They didn't even know they were participating in a Ponzi scheme and raising money for them. Because they just didn't do the simple bad actor check and say, oh, this guy has some securities violations. Maybe I might want to, stay away from this. So that's what you're getting here with RealEstate.Exchange on the US exchange is, a certain level of due diligence that a lot of times you don't get with, some of the private equity things that people are investing in. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Martin. We can keep going now.
Oh, Martin, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Essentially, we are coming to an end. I'm now creating an order, which essentially now, once the order is placed, the texture capital magic happens in the backend, and then the order needs to be approved by texture because it's getting an additional screening. And then once it's approved, it's open on the market, right? And then after our orders are matched, then the execution happens on the blockchain itself. So it's a peer-to-peer settlement between two investors with their respective wallets.
So we have dazzling DigiShares with texture capital magic.
That's right. We'll have
That's
to
correct,
put that
yeah.
on the website.
Looking sick.
And so is this essentially the end, or is there anything else, Martin?
Yeah, this is all from the demo.
Okay. Gabriel, why don't you bring us home and wrap it up? What is there going to be like a listing with multiple listings on it, or is it going to be essentially a white label for one company or one group of funds? So how is that going to work?
So RE.X won't be a white label. It'll be a separate brand, its own platform. We're starting with DigiShares clients, of course, in terms of the first issuers and assets that'll be on there. The latest I checked, we had 3 MOUs signed with current DigiShares clients and others that are interested in joining. And then, as the development continues, hopefully, even if an issuer uses another tokenization platform that's not DigiShares, they can list on RE.X. And so we can open it up as much as possible. Yeah, it's all about really lowering the barrier to entry because it's still quite high today with the current solutions offered.
And not to get into the blockchain wars, but I was just speaking with somebody the other day, and they were trying to do tokenization on XRP. But is there going to be a bunch of blockchain supporters? Is it going to be mainly Ethereum virtual machine compatible supported?
It will be EVM supported from the start.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, probably there are a lot layer twos like Polygon that are quite popular because the gas fees are lower and you're still in that EVM sphere.
Right. Avalanche, Gnosis, some of those guys. It's amazing. I just saw a list of EVM compatibles, and it went for pages and pages now. So they keep populating. But anyway, with that, I'd like to wrap it up. So I want to know how people can get in touch with you. Richard, tell us a little bit about how people, if they were interested in doing something directly, like listing a company for a crowdfunding or something like that. How do they find Texture Capital, learn a little bit more about you, and a little bit more about the company?
Yeah, I mean, the website is texture.capital. The email you can reach us on is info@texture.capital. We're on social media as well. I think, we're gearing up to launch this, I think, around Q4. So it'd be great to, if there's any kind of real estate issuers out there who want to list their assets, let's start having the conversation now. If they have existing assets that, let's say they raised, that they raised for a fund or some LLCs over a year ago, and as a Reg D, those assets already ceased, so they can start trading straight away. But if they have new assets they want to kind of do a primary offering, we can help with a Reg CF or a Reg D or Reg A even. And yeah, contact me or contact Gabriel from DigiShares, and we can kind of collaborate here.
Nice. And Gabriel, why don't you tell them a little bit about how they can get in touch with DigiShares, not only for the tokenization, but to get walked through the entire process of listing on RealEstate.Exchange. And even if they're outside the United States, give us some information on how to get in touch with you guys, any of your social medias, if you have any type of special reports or, something that they can use to, like, what's needed to tokenize a property and list it.
Absolutely, yeah. So digishares.io and then RealEstate.Exchange. So if people contact us, we'll explain the process to them. The first step, of course, would be signing up with DigiShares for the tokenization and the investor onboarding and cap table management. So we would get them set up in a few weeks with that. We would then introduce them to a relevant lawyer or law firm in their jurisdiction that's within our partner network that knows a lot about tokenization and the intersection of securities law and the blockchain. So we would point them in the right direction on that. We don't provide legal advice, but we have great partners. And yeah, we would get them set up with the RealEstate.Exchange in terms of the due diligence process with Texture Capital. They'll have to answer some questions, as Richard mentioned, in terms of so that he can do the bad actor checks and all of that. So yeah, those are the key components.
Yeah, and if somebody is looking for legal advice, especially the guys that really and have done actual tokenization work, our partners at Bull Blockchain, Tyler and Andrew, are some of the best in the world. They've actually did things in 2019, and they know the regulations, have helped us immensely, and have also, were some of the first sponsors of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. So if somebody's looking to do something in the United States, I would highly recommend them. Yeah,
we've known them for 3.5 years since the start. Yeah, would also recommend them for that. So.
All right. Well, with that, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget to get your tickets to the Blockchain Real Estate Summit happening in 3 different time zones, 3 full days, all online. We're hitting Europe, we're hitting Asia, we're hitting the Americas. It's truly an international experience. Last year, we had speakers from over 40 countries, and this year we're expecting the same amount. We don't just add speakers to add speakers. These are experts. As you can see from what we just saw here, these guys are actually in the trenches doing things, inventing the technology, and making it, like actually creating the industry. So with that, you can go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com. That's blockchainrealestatesummit.com to get tickets to see these people and more exciting speakers and get a general overview about how to, if you're interested in issuing a security token. My main interest is funds and fundraising for real estate. But there's all kinds of other interesting things about how blockchain is being used in real estate and also real world assets. With that, I really appreciate and thank everybody for tuning in, and I thank our guest here today.
Thank you, Michael. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, hosted by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Don't forget to sign up for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your feedback really helps increase the visibility of our show, allowing us to reach more listeners like you. If you have someone in mind you would like us to interview, you can go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com and leave a comment.
Hi, this is Adam Carswell, the voice of Liberty. This podcast is solely intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to provide tax, legal, investment, or accounting advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, accounting, or investment advisors before engaging in any transaction or undertaking. Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, which is a part of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit Network. Go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com for more information, free reports, and giveaways with free stuff. Thank you.